Okay, it's 6 p.m., so we'll call the meeting in order for the Upson County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, June 23rd. July. You threw me off, but I went with what you wrote, July 23rd. Tuesday, July 23rd. If you would at this time, please rise for our invocation, followed by our pledge. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let us pray. Almighty God, you created this universe. You've forgiven our sins. You send your Spirit to fill us with wisdom. Help us to recognize in this body, this night, the presence of your Spirit, providing guidance, providing wisdom, providing compassion and direction for the days ahead. Open our minds to receive your wisdom and your guidance. Fill our hearts with love for our fellow citizens and for this community. And may all that we do here today be done in peace, in compassion, and with a strong desire to do your will. I lift up these men and women to you for your blessing and your love as we entrust ourselves to your work in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. If you join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, let's do something else fun. Gentlemen, you have before you, next item on the agenda is proclamation, and I'm going to read this proclamation and then call for a vote. It's a proclamation for Miss Paula Dawson. Whereas it with great admiration that we recognize Paula Dawson, who is affectionately and appropriately called Miss Paula, whose passion and commitment have profoundly impacted our children. Whereas Miss Paula, with the assistance of other volunteers, envisioned and established a nurturing program known as the Lincoln Park Fun Camp, now celebrating its 8th consecutive year, providing up to 100 children with joyful experiences lasting memories. Whereas with a passion to give back to the community in which she grew up, Miss Paula has tirelessly devoted her time, energy, and resources to ensuring the camp's success year after year. Whereas her guidance and unwavering dedication, Miss Paula has cultivated an environment where children learn, play, and grow together, fostering relationships, friendships, and skills that last a lifetime. Miss Paula's selfless contributions have not only enriched the lives of our children, but have also strengthened the bonds of the community, inspiring others to volunteer and to make a positive difference. Now, therefore, the Upson County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024 as Paula Dawson Day in Upson County, and urge every citizen to join in and honor this most auspicious occasion. Gentlemen, is there a motion on this proclamation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? It's unanimous.
Congratulations.
Mr. Rob? You got a day.
Oh my goodness.
You got a day. All right. Here you go. And you said the camp finished?
Yes, sir. We finished with a total of 96 kids on last Friday.
All right. I know you deserve a break.
Before I go, can I recognize the volunteers?
Absolutely.
They just need.
Yes.
You too, Chris.
State your name. I know you are, but they don't state your name.
Yoga's the former principal of the alternative. Basically, president of the Park Citizen Coalition. Kim Saracen is a good friend of the community.
Her kid also, her daughter.
Well, we appreciate what y'all do. I tell you, I went down there, unfortunately, I didn't go down there this year, but last year I popped in, they didn't know I was coming, and Miss Paula was sitting there. It was kind of dark that day, we hadn't done a lot of work on the gym at that point, and she had those kids, and they were in a circle, and they were the most polite, well-behaved. It was amazing. So appreciate what you're doing with what you have down there. Thank you. All right. Okay. Next item are public comments, and we don't have anybody signed up for public comments tonight. Next item is our consent agenda. For today's consent, you have approval of the July 9th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion on the consent?
So moved. Second.
You got that? Okay, Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay, moving right along. New business, discussion and approval of the fiscal year 2025 contract with Three Rivers Area Agency on Aging. Jason, can you, I know you dialed in, is it, you want to just give us the mile high version of this, or you want me to?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm hearing you, but I don't have the best audio. I'm not in the best Wi-Fi coverage area. It might be better if you tried to cover it. I don't know how well I sound to you where I am, but
Sound good.
I'm barely hanging on over here.
Okay, you sound fine. I'll just hit the high notes. So the one for the area agency on aging contract, this is pretty much the Meals on Wheels and the food distribution that we see over at the senior center. And we're contracted with Three Rivers to provide that. So this is basically that contract to carry us for the next year. Anything, I miss anything? Okay, he's shaking his head no. So
I think this is just a standard renewal, as you see in some of the attachments. Talk about some of the details in the appendix. Some of the this is meal delivery or transit?
this is meal delivery.
Yeah, there's really no change to either one.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion made to approve us renewing the contract to the area agency on aging. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay, and the next one is the transit service. This is the buses that you see. You can call, citizens call, they can get a ride. This is something the Region Commission handles in most of the counties it serves. So this is basically just a renewal of that contract as well. So anything I need to add? You need to add, Jason?
In attachment B, you can see the fees. These fees haven't changed in quite some time. A lot of our senior center patrons.
Okay. So staff's recommendation is to approve. And so is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to renew this contract. Hearing no further discussion. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. All right. Discussion and acceptance of the financials through June 30th. So this is the halfway point for the year. So Mr. Salter, if you want to just kind of hit the high notes on where we are halfway through this fiscal year.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I have it on this side. They can see it.
They can see it, okay.
We'll go through this pretty quickly. There's two sections of this, and we're covering actually two items on the agenda by going through this. One will be just the the brief overview of where we are as of June 30, and then we'll get into the next item on the agenda. So the very first page you can see, this is really all of our major cash balances in our all of our governmental funds as of June 30. Everything is fine. There's no issues with those. If there are any questions, if not, we can move on. What I've got on the next several pages are the main operating funds that we have, which would be the general fund. It'll be and the joint projects fund. So we do have 3 separate taxing districts in the county. Unincorporated services is accounted for within the general fund, but I bifurcated the unincorporated services away from the rest of the general fund and show that on a separate page. But if you look, primarily focus on the expenditures. Actually, when I ran these are all technically as of July 15th. I wanted to get the most recent numbers I could as terms of, utilizing them for forecasting. But we're good in terms of percent of budget in all categories. If you look at the grand total, we're at 50.9%. So there's nothing to report there of any concern. If you wanted to go back and look on the next page, I just expand out the property taxes portion of the general fund budget to give you an idea of what is makes up the tax line item within our budget. Unincorporated services, there's 3 large departments, if you will, in unincorporated services. There's building and zoning, there's animal control, and roads being the largest. So, and there's some smaller items such as the volunteer fire department that's accounted for within unincorporated services. Unincorporated services where we also, the insurance premium taxes that we receive from the state, those have to be used towards helping fund unincorporated services. Joint projects, what this is not the joint project fund, but it's a combo of the joint projects fund, which contains several departments such as the archive, senior center, and EMA, but also it includes the recreation fund and 911 fund. So I collapsed all those, or brought all those together to give you an idea of the whole, where we are in terms of our joint projects with the city and all of our joint projects. So we're actually looking really good in terms of expenditures. A lot of that is just some of those budgeted items. One, definitely, we're close, but we're under on personnel services, employee benefits, and some of that has to do with some larger positions, say within recreation, that have not been filled. There's some of that and some vacancies, but that is a big reason for that. And also on senior center, our overall expenditures for the year are actually, a lot lower than we anticipated, particularly with the meal cost. Then it just goes on, and what I do is I say, okay, that was all combined, and I just really lay out all of the funds and show them, besides the general fund, I show the joint projects itself. And there, again, the joint projects look really good, and that's archive, senior center, and EMA for the most part. Recreation fund, how we're looking with respect to recreation. Nothing there that jumps out that we need to discuss any further. You can see there with the personnel services, employee benefits, and recreation, we're at 41.7. We should be at 50, a little over 50%. But again, like I said, there are a couple of positions vacant, and one of, I think, the assistant director position being vacant. And plus, the new director was not employed, all of this year either. So. 911 fund looks great. No issues to report there. And then next in the Squirrel Bluff Fund, we're looking good there with respect to our total expenditures there. And then just quickly, the 2 proprietary funds, our water fund and our waste billing services. everything looks really good there. With those revenues, obviously, well, I would expect to see those be at least 50%, with the charges for services, because those revenues are, ongoing every month. So we look really good. Investment income looks pretty good. It's not going to be as much simply because the cash balance isn't quite as big as it was last year. The waste billing services, no problems there either. So that is a very fast run through of where we are to date. I don't go into a whole lot of discussion on capital projects funds or those, but the cash balances are on the front page.
Okay, so Jason, is there anything you'd like to add, or you can?
Yeah, there is. Just a little credit to the utilities staff. One of the reasons we're doing so well in that fund, and I was going to actually mention this during my comments tonight, but I think now would be a pertinent time to do that. They have completed the lead service line inventory totally in-house. So one of the expenditures we will not have to make this year is a third-party testing and consulting firm to come help us with that inventory. So over the last 6 months, they've, and a little bit in the previous calendar year, they have been able to complete that entirely with existing staff without the help of a third party. And that was one of the items we had budgeted that we will no longer need to expend. So I wanted to give thanks to that team for really stepping it up and trying to fit that in with their normal fees.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. That explains the 15.6% for purchase contracted services.
Okay.
All right.
Is anybody have any questions? All right. Well, thank you for putting that together for us. And with that, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is
We need to accept financial.
well, it does say acceptance. So yeah, good catch. Is there a motion to accept the financials to June 30th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay. Now for this one. Discussion and consideration of the tentative 2024 millage rate.
Okay, the very first page, I lay it out for you. Staff's recommendation for the 2024 millage rate, and then we'll work back from this page, after discussions and questions, and kind of give you the reasons as to how we, or why we're at this millage rate. So the recommended millage rate for county maintenance and operations, or M&O, we recommend a 9.51 millage rate. For the unincorporated millage, we recommend 1.38, and for joint projects, 1.74, for a total county millage of 12.64.
Okay. All right.
That is, the recommended millage rate for county M&O is 3.3 mills higher than the calculated rollback rate for this year.
Right.
All right. And
So, I wish we could had it up here, but it's available. This going to be on our website? All right.
so that's a change, and if you take all the taxing districts, that's a 0.73 increase for county millage.
Okay. And not to belabor it, we all know the contributing factors to this are obviously inflation. EMS, which is a bill that we have taken out of fund balance now for 2 years, and then the investments in public safety and courts.
Correct.
By that, I don't mean Justice Center. I say that again. I don't mean Justice Center. There's not a nickel in this M&O is for this Justice Center. I know that's not gonna stop it, but y'all go ahead and talk about it if you want to. But, so this is personnel, these are salaries, benefits, everybody understands what's happened with insurance and healthcare costs. You know, we don't have $2 a gallon gas anymore, and these patrol cars aren't solar powered. So, that's where we're at. And I don't want to belabor too much, but there's a couple things to look at. When, in 2017, the county millage was 18.51. Our digest was about $678 million. The digest today is 1.2. Some inflationary, a lot of it's inflationary, some real growth. We want the real growth. So that's what's got us to this point, is going from an 18.51 to a 12.64, as if that's what we do here tonight. So for county residents, it's for county M&O, joint projects. So you didn't say this. So county M&O is going to go from 645 to 951. Joint projects is going to go 2.75 down to 174. And unincorporated services is down from 271 to 163. Again, from 1191 to 1264. There you have it.
Mr. Chairman, may I add one more comment?
Yes, sir.
To that? One other thing, and we'll call this our top 3 county M&O, countywide M&O influencers, also was our homestead exemption.
Yes.
Just as a reminder, it only applies to countywide M&O, and we waited a couple of years before we saw what the effect of that was going to be. I thought we did a pretty good job identifying what the revenue loss was going to be associated with that. We came pretty close. We decided to fund that out of fund balance as well for the first go around, and this will be the second full year where folks who in their primary residence will receive a pretty deeply discounted countywide M&O as a result. So it's the two things that you mentioned, EMS and public safety and court salaries and benefits, and our homestead exemption. Those are the 3 major drivers.
Mr. Salter, is there anything else you want to add?
Well, there's more to the document, but if you're done.
I mean, if there's, yeah, I mean, I think we've hit the high notes, but I mean, you've done a great job putting this together, and I don't want to overlook this. I mean, if you look at the document here, you'll see that average annual inflation rates in 2020, we were at 1.2%. Today, we're at 3.2. And in the middle, there was a 4.7, 8.0, and a 4.1. And we talked about another hit on our fund balance was the about 1.2 million, and for the emergency road repairs in 2023 that we were able to do. And we talked about EMS. There's some good information on here if anybody wants to take a deeper dive in it. Do you have anything else you want to point out on this? Because I got the one thing I was saving towards the end. So
other than if you wanted to talk about what, I just gave an example of what, if we used a rollback rate, what it would do to our fund balance, but, okay.
well, that if anybody wants to hear that in a second. So the bottom line this is a very close estimate. So, I always ask Jason and ask Alan, I said, what does this mean? Put this in dollars and cents. What does this mean to pick an average? It's kind of hard to pick the average home. So Alan took a $300,000 home. And so, and you really can't do a very detailed look at it because, everybody's exemptions are different. So you take somebody who's 61 years or younger, and the example is, so what this means for the average person for the county it's $80.51 increase. That's paying for your ambulance and all this other stuff. Dealing with inflation. So I think $80.51, I think that's pretty good. I get it. Nobody likes any increases, but, and I challenge anybody out there who can find something to cut to please come forward if you've got something to cut.
And if we went with the rollback rate, we'd be at risk of having to borrow money again, going back to TANs. I appreciate you answering my question earlier.
And in today's interest rates, that would be catastrophic.
It's just money out the door.
Yep. Yeah. We stopped borrowing money to operate in 2018, I think. And Commissioner Watson and I were talking. He was in training this past week, and it was a finance course, and there are 158 other counties out there, and they're all trying to figure out how to do the same thing, and a lot of them are having to borrow money.
It's not a good place to be. Everybody that's not doing TANs, they were very impressed.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I just want to piggyback on that, if we hadn't established that fund balance where we didn't have to borrow that money, there's a lot of things that we've done. There's a couple of years of rollback I know we may have not been able to take. So this, this could have hit us a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And the math doesn't lie. There's a bunch of instructors out there, but the math doesn't lie.
Right. You got to be able to respond to emergencies, and that the 2023 floods where we lost about 14 roads. A lot of counties are still trying to figure out how to fix their roads, and we had crews on the ground that happened on a Saturday, I think, and we had crews on the ground on Tuesday with equipment and material. So we wouldn't have been able to do that if we were sitting around having to scratch our heads and figure out how we're going to pay for it. So it's not good, but the county government, Mr. Jones, you said it many times, we're not exempt from anything that we face at home. We have those same challenges here that we have at home. You said it, we're not selling lemonade and cookies, so we got to pay for these services. So gentlemen, you got the staff's recommendation on the millage rate. So the staff's recommendation, just to summarize, is the countywide M&O 9.51, joint projects 1.74, and unincorporated services 1.38, for a total of 12.64. That's the staff's recommendation. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Can we add that we're approving this tentatively?
Yes.
Yes, tentative. Tentative budget.
Okay, so I have a motion tentatively setting these millage rates. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, so I have a motion made and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Again, I don't need to repeat. Okay.
Well, I want you to, I know they can't see it up here, but it's only a 0.73 increase,
Yep.
of what last year's was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Compare that to inflation.
I mean, I love the bar chart. I mean, I love line graphs. I love data. It shows. I mean, down.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Show that chart with the line chart.
It's the next page.
That. So if anybody out there in YouTube land or anybody here is interested, there you go. That's what it's looked like for the last 8 years. And so tells a story. All right. So I have a motion made and seconded. I hear no more discussion. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay, next thing we need to do is, because this is, we didn't take the rollback rate, this is considered a tax increase, so we'll have 3 public hearings, and so Jessica, help me out here. What we were talking about for the public hearings are our normal meeting days. So,
I have, public hearings for August 13th. We need a time for the morning. And then I figured we could do it before our meeting or have it on the agenda for the 6 o'clock
Right.
PM meeting. And then on the 27th, we'll have the third public hearing. That'll give us 3.
okay.
2 on the 13th, 1 on the 27th.
All right, this is a question for the group here. Would we be better to do the morning meeting on the 27th or do it on the morning of the 13th? I mean, this has got to get out there, you know? I mean, I don't know. Sure, what's your thoughts? We need a morning meeting.
13th's fine with me.
13th? Okay. So we want to go,
13th, on the morning meeting on the 13th, for me won't work.
Yeah, I got pre-op,
Yeah.
Houston Clinic.
again?
Oh, again.
All right, so
What time?
you want to do, so it won't, 13 doesn't work for you, the 13 doesn't work?
The morning of the 13th won't work for, will not work for me.
All right, so it doesn't work for either of you two. So the 27th? Well, will that
Y'all
work?
wanted to pick another day to do a morning meeting, we could. Doesn't have to be on the 13th, it could be the 14th if that day worked better for everybody.
14th will work.
14th, I'm not getting it, so
Okay.
Yeah, say he's getting his surgery.
No.
so,
What about
I mean, I know
12th?
I know your marathon,
12th.
Andy.
12th won't work for me either.
Why don't we just do the morning of the 27th?
Yeah, let's do that.
That's fine.
That work?
I mean, y'all don't have to hear it without me.
No.
I'm gonna catch.
You gotta be
Doesn't matter
there.
if I'm here or not.
You're gonna be there. So the morning,
The morning of the 27th.
yeah, we typically, do, 9 o'clock? You wanna do 10?
Whatever's good for everybody.
I think we gotta have the morning here. I mean, I think it gives people that work in, you know, in the evenings an opportunity to come and voice
Yeah.
their opinions. But I think we gotta do that.
Yeah, what time? 9, 10?
9. I'd rather have it at 7, but that might, you know.
What? We wanna get some school teachers in here. You
I'll
can do it
be
at
up
7.
to do it.
Yeah, so, no, so, 9? All right, so that'll be, those will be the advertised. So we'll get this information on our website.
So just to clarify, we're gonna do August 13th at our 6 o'clock meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we're gonna do August the 27th at 9 a.m. and then at the 6 o'clock.
Yes. Jason, does that satisfy the other entities out there? I mean, is that gonna be quick enough? I mean, we always get this and we gotta jump through hoops. I mean, but is that gonna be plenty of time to
Yeah.
get this?
Yes, I believe it does. I don't think there's going to be any issue, because the last meeting is going to be an evening meeting, and then I think the tax commissioner has plans to actually send the information in the next day once he puts it all together. So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't see an issue with it.
Okay. All right. Well, my only other concern is, I mean, so tax bills will go in the mail, and we know how reliable that's been. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. All right. Let's move on. Discussion and consideration of Resolution 15.2024, increasing court reporters per diem for the Griffin Judicial Circuit. I'll kind of summarize this one quickly. We know there are challenges in the circuit, particularly in those counties in our circuit that are up near the metro areas and competing for people to work. And court reporters obviously are no exception to that. What this means for us in Upson County is that when the judge has civil cases here in Upson County, and right now, I believe, I got Judge Coker sitting back there. You have 2 civil cases. You hear two 2 civil court days per month.
Yes, sir.
And so those are the only 2 days that this per diem would apply to.
Yes, sir, unless I have some kind of special set, which is rare, I'm able right now to handle approximately 40 some odd cases per month on the 2 days that I hold court.
So this comes down to $400 per month.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And to not get in the weeds, I do want to say this too. If you don't know, I learned this doing a little research. Court reporters, they don't just show up and use our equipment. No, they actually own their own equipment, which is costly. It has to be updated.
They're a contractor.
And some are contracted. You know, that's pretty expensive adventure. And then that stuff has to be updated. And they have to take all this information down and have to go back and put it down in writing in case court, appealed or whatever. But so in a quick little study of doing some research, I figured out that this is really not that uncommon or that bad a deal for us.
And the judge reminded me, if you don't have a reporter, you don't have court.
I don't get the whole court without a report.
Right.
Yes. All right. So, gentlemen, you've had a chance to read this this resolution. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Bottom line is it's increasing the per diem rate from $190 a day for civil cases to take it up to $400 somewhere. It says that. Yep, right there, third paragraph from the end. So there you have it. Is there a motion on this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Ms. Jones.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay. All right. We're winding it down. More fun stuff here. Discussion and possible consideration of resolution 16.2024. This is a budget amendment for the Pine Mountain Regional Library. Mr. Salter.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. There was some miscommunication, if you will, between myself and the director, Cynthia S. Kilby, with the Pine Mountain Regional Library System. Information that she had given me appeared to reflect a 2025 budget, but apparently it did not. She had requested, which I provided you all a copy of a letter indicating that she needed an increase of $20,000. At the same time, she sent a document that said 2025 budget, but it didn't include that increase. So we had a conversation over the phone about that, and basically at the same time, she sent an email to myself and Lonnie Joyce with the city and indicated that they lost, that once she got through the budget and you all had gotten through approving the budget that I thought was their 2025 budget, she had to make an adjustment because they lost, reduced or increased healthcare costs at the state level. So she indicated in her email that they were immediately in the hole for $8,700. So what I am proposing is to amend the budget that you all approved a couple of weeks ago to increase her total budget by $28,700. Now, our portion of that, understanding that this is a joint project, would really require us to increase the county budget by $19,335, which is in that table in the second column. So I have the approved budget, then the error, correction, and other, and then the revised budget. The city would take on $9,365 of that budget amendment.
Have they done that already?
I sent this to Lonnie, provided to him too. I don't know if the board is.
What was the so the 20,000 increase? What was that? Was it insurance? Is that what I read in that?
Well, the 8,700 was specifically related to insurance. The 20,000 was just related to total cost. expenditures. And so she sent a letter along with a document entitled 2025 budget, but that technically, according to her, the numbers that were in there didn't include the $20,000 increase that she needed. And so I think we're on the same page going forward for future years to make sure that, well, I'm sure it will be. She does talk about in her letter, if you look at her letter, it does explain the 20,000 increase. And she does actually hint toward or talk about the group health insurance cost. So she even talks about she reduced the budget for materials, books, DVDs, et cetera, and programming budgets.
So it's basically, and the other part of this is programming at the Hightower Memorial Library.
All right. And so she overall, basically, she put it in round numbers. She needed a total budget of $225,000. And as I understand it, the Board of Education did not approve an increase of the 20. So they're still helping fund it, but so it's us and the city that are covering the additional 20,000. Well, now 28,700 that she's asked for.
So this 20 is more than just the, I thought she was gonna absorb the 8,700.
No, she's not absorbing the 8,700. That's an addition to.
This is a budget amendment to a total of $28,700.
That's correct. Her total budget, but our portion, our slice of it is $19,335.
Right, back to her letter, she's already projecting a 20% increase in what? A 26% increase this year or next year, and then another 20 in the next 2 years after that. Now, how does she know it's gonna be 20%? And then another increase in 27 by 8%.
I can answer that one. But I didn't get the answers. It's probably based on forecast and prediction.
So she doesn't get it. She doesn't get this $28,000. We don't give her this $19,000. What does it do?
She said she would have to use, which I did not ask her, they would have to start using monies out of the fund balance to the extent that they have.
What's wrong with
Well, you know, I don't want to be a bad guy here, but look, you know, we're all grown. You got a budget to do. I mean, this budget, it wasn't extraordinarily difficult. I mean, these are the kind of things that hurt. They hurt big time. I mean, this is a small amount of money in the big scheme of things, but you know, what if every department did this?
Right. The $8,700, now the $20,000, you know, I should have compared her letter to the other documents she prepared that had her budget and realized that there, a $20,000 increase wasn't there. So that's my fault. I didn't look at the letter well enough. I had two documents she emailed, both said 2025. I started on the 2025 document that contains her itemized budget. And so that's.
Well, another question is this, are these increases going from 15%, 24, 26%, 25, 20%, 26, and 27 each will increase? It will again increase by 8%?
It's just on group health insurance. How do they know what group health insurance increases?
Is this increasing encompassing all those percentages? I mean,
And it's only 2 employees.
Well, she's probably talking about the whole Mountain regional system. So that would be all the folks within that system, all the libraries. But I can find out about the years to come, because that's a great question, how it will impact us going forward.
right. And is she including that in the 20? And if she,
I don't think so, no, sir.
All right, what do you want to do?
We need to find out.
I want some more from just, yeah. I think we need to get a little more clarity on this. I mean,
And I can ask her to come back.
Okay.
So she can, if you have specific questions I can't answer, she can answer it.
Well, I think if she just provides some clarity, I mean,
Okay.
so we just approved the 2025.
Again, and it didn't have that 20,000 in it. It was a really long conversation with her, but that's what I understood. I think Lonnie understood that was her 2025 budget, but.
We just started, we're like in first month of it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
come back towards the end of the year
That's right.
when you start running out.
Or if.
Yeah, you run out.
Well, certainly.
Or make do with what you got.
So, right, now, with regard to the 8,700, she's saying she's already in the hole on it, and had to freeze an open position at Hightower Library. Would there be any room to just approve the 8,700, or get all the information that you're asking for, bring it back to you all?
I'd rather know the whole shoe thing. You know, I mean, how are you forecasting 2 years out that it's gonna be a 26% increase?
All
I mean,
right,
our
so
insurance doesn't go with that much.
you got two options. Say no and have her come back and ask again, or table it and have her come back next month and have this conversation again.
That's right.
And we're only the second month into the fiscal year for them, right? So, is there
Make
a motion?
to table it until she comes back and explains it to us next month.
So you're saying table it until our first meeting in August?
Yep.
Okay, I have a motion to table until August the 13th.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion to table until August 13th. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. All right. Discussion and consideration of appointment to the Board of Elections to fill an unexpired term. So, let me find my stuff here.
We only got one.
Yeah, we only, so this was advertised, it was advertised online, and we only had one. All right. Gentlemen, you have one applicant, Mr. York, Dana York. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to elect Dana York to the Board of Elections.
To appoint Mr. Dana York to the Board of Elections. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Now, this is to an unexpired term, so
Right.
this is only good for how long?
Until December 25.
December 25.
So it's good for another year. Okay. Library Board, we have two applicants. You have, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we appoint Angela Williams.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, motion to, made and seconded to appoint Ms. Angela Williams to the Library Board. Hearing no further discussion. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Discussion and consideration of appointment to the McIntosh Trail Community Service Board. We don't have an applicant. We've been advertising now for a little while.
Yes, and I thought I was gonna have an applicant, that's why I put it on the agenda, because I had been communicating, but it didn't come through before
Okay.
time, so.
Okay. All right, we'll move along then, and then lastly is the discussion and consideration of an appointment to the Region 4 EMS Advisory Council. We have one applicant. Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion we appoint that one applicant.
Great.
Second. So I have a motion made and seconded to appoint Mr. Ethan Gray to the Region 4 EMS Advisory Council. Hearing no further discussion, Ms. Jones.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellington?
Yes.
Chairman Allen?
Yes. Okay. Last but not least, comments. Mr. Tinsley.
Mr. Chairman, thanks for putting up with me coming into the meeting remotely. I can assure you that I appreciate it very much having the opportunity to participate this way. I'm currently at a rather large family reunion, hidden away in a room somewhere from 10 young children and my siblings and my parents. So looking forward to getting back to spending some more time with them, but I appreciate the board's willingness to allow me to do this. Secondly, I wanted to, and I don't know how I want to say this, I'll say this just gingerly. We've had a lot of issues with our staff members' fathers lately, so, and I know you probably have all the information that I'm talking about, but some senior staff members have really need our thoughts and prayers when it comes to the health and well-being of their family and the well-being of their fathers. So you know who those people are. Keep them in your hearts and minds. We're doing our best to work with them and take care of them as they get through these tough times. Lastly, the only other note I had was, again, thank you to the utility crew who did such a great job getting that lead service line inventory completed, and it's under review by the Georgia Rural Water Association. They're going to put eyes on it before we actually submit it to EPD. But we're looking forward to completing that, and we thank them for their service on that. Lastly, really want to thank Alan for putting a very comprehensive presentation together as it relates to our recommended millage rates for this fiscal year. A complicated subject to talk about, and I think, we have the advantage of working with this every day. You have the advantage of working with us every day. And to an average citizen who may only hear bits and pieces about how this process works or may not completely understand it, I think they have the best chance of understanding it if they look at what Alan presented. And I look forward to providing that to them and using that as our tool to communicate this message. So thanks to him mostly, and I'm sure his team helped him with it, but thanks to him too. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm finished with my comments unless you have any questions.
Ms. Jones?
I don't have any.
Mr. English?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Wilder?
I don't have anything, sir.
Mr. Jones?
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you who it was. Is Paul Norton's father died?
No. Mother.
Excuse me, his mother died. And I just want you to remember and hit your prayers about the family, and Coggins Funeral Home will be taking care of the arrangements.
There's other things going on too, as he indicated, without mentioning names. So
I know.
a lot of illnesses going on.
That's it. I'm done.
Mr. Ellington?
I just got a question for Jason. Where are we at on the Thurston Well project, the bid process? And do you have that information? If you don't right now, I understand. I was just thinking about that today, where we were at on that project.
Yeah, I communicated actually with our engineer this morning in anticipation of that question. So I've got one last follow-up call with him Monday, but I think on that project, as far as providing the bid specs for that, they're working on final language for that and for the bid specs for the road projects. They had told us at a work session a month and a half ago that they needed about 45 days. Technically, that 45 days expired a couple days ago, Thursday last week. I reached out to them to see where they were at, and they said they were very close. I actually have some information I can forward you on the road projects as well, information that we can get out to the public in terms of a visual scope of all the work that we're about ready to undertake. But I will have an absolute answer for you Monday, but I'm actually expecting those in my inbox Monday, according to Chris and to Joel.
Okay.
Okay. So to kind of summarize that, in our next work session, we should have those. The road projects, we were going to look at that one more time before we put it out for bid, correct? Or we good to go?
Yeah, he actually,
No.
he sent me something this morning that I'm gonna send to you. You'll be able to check your email tonight and have it in your inbox, and you'll get a quick glance at the project as a whole. It's basically a one-pager, project superimposed on a high-resolution map of the county and minor descriptions of each of those projects. And I believe they even included the district lines on the project map, so you'll get to see very clearly what those specs will encompass.
Okay.
Only other thing I had to say is it looks like the Jeff Davis road bridge is moving forward pretty rapidly at this point. Pace has picked up, construction's out there every day, bigger equipment showing up, so I'm anticipating on that. I'm not anticipating, but I see it closing here fairly soon, and that's gonna alter the travel path of a lot of people, including me. So we just gotta be patient, and progress takes time. I'm not happy about it, but I know that it's not gonna fix itself until it gets fixed. So the citizens that live in that area need to be aware of that and pay attention, because you're gonna go by one day and cross it, and you come back that afternoon, and you're not gonna be able to get home that way.
Well, Jason, we'll have some information on that before. I mean, there's dates and stuff. I mean, we can get that stuff out. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Yeah, as soon as we get the official announcement from DOT, obviously they're going to notify people well in advance. We'll post all of their communications on our normal platforms as well. So.
Okay. Probably wouldn't hurt to reach out. I mean, it's been a little bit since we've had an update on all DOT projects. I mean, there's several going on. Hannah's Mill, Elkins Creek, the
Covered on
the one on 36. Yeah, there's several going on. If we could just kind of get an update, maybe at our next work session, where we're at on some of this.
I'll communicate with them and provide that to you. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's all.
I don't have anything.
Okay. I'll mention one more thing about finances, because it always gets lost unless you've done this a lot. This is mainly for folks in YouTube land and people that haven't done this before, listening to this for the first time. We set the millage rate to pay the bills for the year that you're in, right? You set the budget for the next year. So for this year's budget, the 2024 budget, Jason, what was the millage that was actually forecast that we were going to need? Do you remember on top of your head? Maybe Alan, you remember?
For county, general fund,
Yeah.
county M&O was 10.6.
Yeah. So we came in under what we budgeted.
Correct.
So that's an important thing to remember. We're paying the bills for the year that you're in. We're also starting our 2025 budget, and I would encourage everybody to pay just as much attention to that as we go forward. So, and with that, I'll appreciate everybody coming, everybody watching, and if there'd be no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, God, I'm so glad y'all keep me up. So we have an executive session planned. Dave, we won't be taking any action following this executive session, but you're welcome to stick around if you'd like. It's probably going to be about 15 or 20 minutes. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing real estate. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. We'll be about 10 or 15 minutes.
Surgery's done.
And you going back to the same spot?
When you figure out how to get the discounts over there, let me know, because I know I'm qualified for a free trip.
We've been on the side of the road. Oh, yeah. I live on Troy Jones. Yeah.
Chester. I shared it. Hey, could you make a copy of that?
Well, I know my wife called me.
It's still live.
Yeah. I was on.
Still lying?
Yes.
In the house. Correct.
Get off.
So she put it in the outside kennel, and I knew it would start. I think, because yesterday I had to run home and get it fixed out. Yeah. That's probably what it was. But I generally don't leave for the month. Thank you, Ms. Justin.
You're welcome, Al.
Peace out.
See you later.
Leah?
Alan, were you